So who are you?
Jim, I'm a bicycle courier. I was riding a package from Farringdon to Shaftesbury Avenue and a car cut across me. And then I wake up today in hospital. I wake up and I'm hallucinating, or I've got some bad news.
And where down we go, 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 go. Oh, where down we go, 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 go. Oh, baby, yeah. Oh, baby, way down we go.
Since the official trailer came out for 28 years later, there's been a lot of speculation about Cillian Murphy's part in it, as long before the trailer even came out, it was confirmed that he would be reprising his role as Jim. Of course, it came out recently about the trailer that this old infected was British art dealer Angus Nill. I thought it was unlikely to be Jim to begin with, but I still think it looks more like Cillian, so that's really weird. I guess it could still be him and he's just saying that. Or they used him akin to a stunt double to mimic a skinnier, infected Jim, but until they say anything different, it's pretty much confirmed this is this artist, Angus Nill. So Cillian as Jim is still yet to be seen. It's weird because it was already announced that Cillian would be in it, but now it's turned into this mystery really similar to Spider-Man No Way Home, where it was revealed literally a year before the trailer came out that they would be returning, but then after so long without talking about it, it becomes this big mystery. We know Jim will be in it, but how? I think there are 4 things we need to do to predict where and what Jim is right now, what he was capable of, what he turned into, his situation at the end of 28 days, and the latest state of the 28 universe. At the end of 28 days later, it was suggested that Jim, Selena and Hannah had successfully alerted the military and got some kind of help, whether that be the plane landed, a helicopter was sent, or squads in vehicles were sent out. It was a positive ending that, until the 3rd movie was announced, was left to the imagination of what that answer was. This plane was a Folland Gnat with Finnish markings, and the pilot says, which translates to, could you send a helicopter, talking to his base. So Finnish plane and likely Finnish pilot. Although there aren't any Finnish bases in the UK, these planes have been used in the Royal Air Force, which is different from Major Henry West's group that were definitely disconnected from that. West made no mention of having access to jets or any other bases. Once picked up by these soldiers, we can presume they were taken to a military base and may have been okay, until in 28 weeks later, we see it spread again and reach Europe. And through all of this, no matter how okay they were since, we now know for sure that in 28 years later, the infected have evolved. They're stronger, smarter, and probably somewhat more sentient and able to lead other less capable infected.
And eventually he'll tell me how long the infected take to start them.
So no matter how well off people are in communities, islands and bases, the infected simply got better. And when I say sentient infected, I don't even mean what we saw in 28 weeks. I didn't really like that, how they would be somewhat normal, unaffected. They just have a bit of it in their eye and they could infect you. I'm talking the rage virus actually getting into someone and making them stronger and still be to some extent them. What I think we see here is either similar to 28 weeks, it's an infected person that hasn't really turned at all but is leading the infected to attack, or it is this sort of feral zombie-like person who is also half themselves. And I said in my last video, I think this infected here is more likely to be Jim than any other. Also, you can't ignore Jimmy. This is clearly someone looked up to as this cult leader type figure, almost like people are sacrificing life to this Jimmy. And at the start of the trailer, you can hear Jimmy.
Jimmy, sit still, keep quiet and do not move.
Or is she saying Jamie? Jamie is the name of the protagonist. Now, if Jimmy isn't Jim, what if Jimmy is the son of Jim? Because with Cillian being in it, I don't see why they're going to have 2 Jims. A Jimmy and a Jim is confusing. What if it's a relative, someone he's named? So it's not clashing with Jim, it's referencing it. At the end of 28 days, Jim had, in Cillian's own words, went from being naive to being just like the infected.
So naive and scared and all of that. And then by the end, he's become this sort of killing machine, you know, kind of like...
Yeah.
like the infected, and
in 28 weeks, the first brutal fate we saw was when Don turned and then did this to Alice. Literally exactly what Jim did to Mitchell in the final act of the movie. They intentionally had an infected do exactly what Jim did. So I don't doubt that although he might have lost people and bad stuff might have happened, he's fine. He's got a really mysterious but I think big role in this movie, with 2 more movies after 28 years within a year of each other, so they're definitely going to have Cillian be a big part of it with how big he is now. He was big then, but you know, he's much bigger now. They could have the movies be awful, there would still be big movies for that alone. So with Jim becoming like the infected and Cillian saying it like this, is there a chance that Jim actually did get infected and somehow survived it like Alice and Andy in 28 weeks? Well, there's a theory that the key to immunity is rage itself. It makes so much sense. We first saw it with monkeys who couldn't have been able to control it. Alice was watching her husband Don run away and leave her, so she must have felt anger. So when she was infected, controlled it, surpassed it. Her son Andy then got bit by infected Don and didn't turn. He didn't even feel it. He would have felt rage seeing his dad like that. So what could they say Jim was angry about if he surpassed the infection and lives in this new trilogy? I think definitely seeing Selena or Hannah die alongside him. It would be massive if the other 2 were in it too. I don't really see Hannah being in it, but Selena I do, mainly because of how active the actors are. Even though I feel like the best thing to do would be to say something happened to Selena, then have Hannah be okay somewhere, because I think it means a bit more that Frank's daughter went on to be okay. Talking of Frank, the only thing that goes against the rage beats rage theory is no one was angrier than Frank and he still turned.
We have to go.
Yeah.
Go!
Or could we put this down to him feeling more sadness over his daughter, and so not feeling the absolute rage you need to beat it? The last thing he did to her was tell her to get away.
Yeah, I'm fine, sweetheart. Sorry I lost my temper. Go! Hannah, I love you very much. Keep away from me. Stay where you are.
That, and they could say not everyone is capable of it, only some. If Jim isn't infected, I think he's in a base somewhere, perhaps even a higher up person. He's ranked up over the years. But if he is infected, I think he's going to have a big part in showing the evolution of it, and the reason he's in this movie is because he's the villain of it. Either way, however it turns out, I think it's going to be a more experienced but more damaged Jim, and I think it's going to be really cool to see. But what do you think? Do you think rage itself could be the cure? Where and what do you think Jim is? Let me know what you think down below, and of course if you enjoyed the video, press the like button, subscribe if you're new, making sure you click that notification bell and set it to all. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.
He's telling me he'll never bake bread, plant crops, raise livestock. He's telling me he's futureless. And eventually he'll tell me how long the infected take to start that.